All right, let's dive right into one of the most chilling maritime mysteries you've probably never heard of. Picture this. It's February 1948. We're in the Strait of Malacca, which is, one of the busiest shipping channels on the entire planet. The day is absolutely perfect. Clear skies, calm seas, everything seems totally normal. But it's not. Something truly terrifying is about to happen out there on the water.
This is the last thing anyone ever heard from the steamship SS Ourang Medan. Just 2 words, an incomplete, chilling phrase that marked the end of one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the sea.
So, on that day, several ships in the area, both American and British, start picking up this really strange distress call. Now, this wasn't some panicked voice screaming over the radio. No, this was in Morse code. And while that might sound a little old-fashioned, Morse code is actually way more reliable over long distances. And the message it was tapping out, well, it was the stuff of nightmares.
The messages came in, one after another, and each one was worse than the last. It started with a standard SOS call, but then came this terrifying addition. All the officers, including the captain, are dead. They're on the bridge, in the chart room, they're all gone. A moment later, a second message comes through, and the horror just escalates. Probably all crew are dead. Then the ship's coordinates crackle through, followed by this jumble of almost indecipherable code. And then, that final haunting message, I die. And after that, just absolute silence.
Luckily, that SOS was heard. The closest ship was an American merchant vessel, the Silver Star, and its captain, thankfully, didn't hesitate for a second. He immediately changed course and went full speed ahead toward the Ourang Medan's last known location. They were probably thinking the ship was sinking, or maybe it had been attacked by pirates. A few hours later, the Silver Star spots it, but what they see is just weird. The Ourang Medan is just floating there, totally peacefully. There's no damage, no holes, no sign of a fire. It's just eerily silent. And adding to the mystery, there's no smoke coming from its stack, which for a steamship is a really strange sight.
The captain of the Silver Star tries everything. He's blasting the ship's horn. They're yelling through loudspeakers, nothing. The only reply is the sound of the waves. It's a true ghost ship. So, with no other choice, the captain makes a call. He's sending a boarding party over to figure out what in the world is going on.
As the rescue team climbs onto the Ourang Medan, they are hit by 2 things right away. First, this oppressive, heavy silence. And second, this bizarre, palpable chill in the air, even though it's boiling hot under the tropical sun. What they were about to find, man, it would haunt them for the rest of their lives.
The scene was an absolute nightmare. Bodies were everywhere, on the decks, on the bridge, scattered all over the ship. The entire crew was dead.
But it was how they died that was just so unbelievably horrifying. Every single person was frozen solid in a state of pure, absolute terror. Their eyes were wide open, their mouths were gaping in a silent scream. Their faces were twisted into these expressions of just unimaginable fear. And here's the part that makes absolutely no sense. Despite these looks of sheer terror on every single face, there wasn't a mark on any of them. No signs of a struggle, no wounds, no blood, nothing. It was as if they had literally been scared to death. And the details just get stranger and stranger. Many of the crew were found with their faces staring up at the sun, arms outstretched like they were trying to fend something off. Even the ship's dog, a little terrier, was found dead, frozen in the middle of an aggressive snarl. And in the radio room, they found the operator, slumped over at his post, his fingers still on the Morse code key, right where he'd stopped after sending his last message. The crew of the Silver Star is, you can imagine, completely freaked out. They know something is terribly, terribly wrong here. So they decide the only thing to do is to tow this ghost ship to the nearest port and let the authorities conduct a full investigation. But just as they start getting the tow lines ready, smoke starts to pour out from below deck. Specifically, it's coming from cargo hold number 4. And what started as just a little trickle of smoke, well, it quickly turns into a raging fire. The rescue team had no choice but to get off that ship, and fast. They scrambled back to their boat, and just moments after they cut the lines and pulled away, a massive explosion just tears through the Ourang Medan, blowing it to pieces. Within minutes, the ship
Its dead crew and all of its secrets sank beneath the waves, gone forever.
So with the Ourang Medan resting at the bottom of the ocean, there was zero physical evidence left to examine. Nothing. All we have is the absolutely harrowing story from the crew of the Silver Star. And when you have no proof, you know what happens? Speculation and wild theories start to run rampant. Now, right away, skeptics point to this huge hole in the story. There's no official record of a ship called the SS Ourang Medan in any major shipping registry, like Lloyd's of London. So they argue the whole thing is just a tall tale, a mariner's legend. But supporters fire back, saying that proves nothing. Think about it. Right after World War II, the seas were like the Wild West. Smuggling was everywhere. And using a ghost ship, one with no official records, that was standard procedure if you wanted to move illegal cargo.
For years, a lot of people just wrote the story off as a legend, but that all changed in 2003. The CIA declassified a ton of old documents, and guess what was tucked away inside? A letter from 1958 sent to the agency detailing the entire Ourang Medan tragedy. Now, the fact that a major intelligence agency held onto this file and kept it classified for almost 50 years, that lends some serious weight to the idea that this was way more than just a ghost story. It suggests there was something about that ship that powerful people wanted to understand, or maybe keep quiet. So, this all leaves us with three main theories that people have come up with to try and explain the unexplainable. First up, you've got the chemical cargo theory. This one suggests the ship was smuggling something incredibly dangerous and volatile. Maybe potassium cyanide that mixed with seawater to create a deadly gas, or maybe unstable nitroglycerin. This would actually explain the two biggest clues: the sudden death of the crew with no injuries and the massive explosion that destroyed the ship. Then there's the covert mission theory. This one's a bit more sinister. It suggests the ship was part of a secret operation, maybe moving nerve agents or biological weapons left over from Japan's infamous Unit 731. That would definitely explain why the ship wasn't registered, and it would explain the CIA's interest. And finally, you have the supernatural event theory. This one just says, look, some unknown force, some entity, boarded that ship and literally scared the crew to death. It's the only theory that really speaks to those terrified expressions and that snarling dog, things that science has a really hard time explaining.
So, where do we land on this? Well, while we can never be 100% certain, the hazardous cargo theory really does feel like the most logical explanation. And why is that? Well, it's the only one that neatly solves the two central puzzles of the story with a single cause. A sudden massive leak of some toxic gas accounts for the instantaneous death of the entire crew, frozen with those looks of shock and horror. And the volatile nature of smuggled chemicals provides the perfect reason for the fire and the explosion that, very conveniently, destroyed every last bit of evidence. It's a chilling picture of a smuggling run gone horribly, horribly wrong.
In the end, the true fate of the SS Ourang Medan is buried deep in the ocean, lost to time. The story is this incredible, chilling reminder that for all of our modern technology, the sea still holds on to its secrets. And it really makes you wonder, how many other ghost ships and how many other terrifying stories are still out there, just waiting in the deep?